Like many of you, I absolutely love the Amazon Prime series Invincible, so much so that I broke down and had to read the entire comic. I just couldn't wait for season 3 to get here, and once I started reading, I just couldn't stop. But one thing that has always bothered me, even before I read the comic, was how much fans complain about Mark losing fights. We've likely all ran into comments saying something along the lines of, "They should rename the show, cause this dude is always getting his ass kicked." And I feel like the people who complain about this just fundamentally misunderstand the point of the series. The reason the series is called Invincible, and the reason it's Mark's hero name, is not because he's physically unbreakable, though he does get pretty close to it by the end of the comics, to be honest, but it's really a mindset. He's striving to be mentally and emotionally invincible, striving to be the type of person who keeps moving forward no matter what happens to him. And even if this wasn't his initial intention, this is what his name ultimately comes to mean. So yes, he's going to lose fights. He's going to get beat up brutally at times. He has to in order to test his mental and emotional fortitude. He can't just win every single clash he has. One of the indicators of a great show is how many hurdles it gives our main characters to climb. Things should never come easy right away, and that goes for both the mental and physical side of things. Because without going into any blatant season 3 spoilers, let's just say that as Mark gets stronger, he begins to question his mindset and what he stands for more and more. But this is kind of how it's supposed to go. Once a character is borderline OP physically, they should then encounter a character who is equally physically OP, but that also challenges their beliefs that they hold so dear. And spoiler alert, this is gonna happen in Invincible. So I just think people need to relax with all of the complaining and saying things like, how the hell is this called Invincible? He gets his ass kicked every episode. Because if you're saying that, the point of the show has gone completely over your head. Also, the beautiful thing about Invincible is the fact that it feels like anything can happen at any time. Plot armor doesn't really exist here, characters die and get maimed on the regular, so you can't ever feel too comfortable as a viewer, and in my opinion, the main character shouldn't be an exception to this. I mean, when you see a main character just get absolutely brutalized, kind of like Mark did against Battle Beast in Season 1, that sets a really effective tone. I still vividly remember seeing Battle Beast slam his mace into Mark's abdomen for the first time. I legit thought he was dead for a second. And granted, that was a bit of a naive thought on my part, since the show was named after him after all. But the fact that I had that thought, even just for a brief moment, is the point. A great show is often one that isn't predictable, and Invincible thus far has been anything but. And not knowing who's going to win a fight plays a really vital role in this unpredictability for an action series like Invincible. Another thing I'd like to point out is that Mark is just blatantly holding back a lot of the time. Mark values human life. In fact, this is the primary reason he defies his father. He thinks human life and free will is precious, so he refuses to willingly take a life. That is, until he encounters Angstrom Levy. And if you're still someone who doesn't understand why Invincible was getting his ass kicked by inferior fighters at moments throughout the first 2 seasons, look no further than the Season 2 finale. Mark simply allows himself to take damage and get beat up in moments, because he knows he can take it, and that his enemies likely can't. And due to the fundamental value he holds for all life, he can't bring himself to go all out. We see it when he's fighting the Viltrumite Thula on the Thraxans' home world. Despite knowing his life is on the line, he just can't bring himself to kill her. It's not because he's physically incapable, he's mentally incapable. That is, until Angstrom Levy breaks him. And the dimension-hopping madman does this by threatening Mark's mom and little brother, the lives he values the most. And in seeing Mark lose it and unleash an epic ass-whooping on Angstrom Levy, we finally saw Mark stop holding back. And for all of you complainers out there, the reason Invincible got his ass kicked so much over the course of the first 2 seasons was so we could have this moment. A moment where Mark breaks and lets his true strength slip out. And maybe, just maybe, we'll see this true strength slip out more and more throughout the series. Maybe even a few times in Season 3. And maybe you'll be happy Mark got his ass kicked a few times in order to get these epic moments later down the line. That's all I'm saying. Well, if you made it this far, please let me know in the comments. Are you excited for Invincible Season 3? What's your take on Mark losing a bunch of fights? Do you agree with me, or do you still find it to be annoying? If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to check out some other Screen Stories content. Until next time, peace.